Okay, this is a quick one here. I've got a NiFi demo here for traffic. And there's a couple different things in New York City that we can capture with NiFi pretty easily. One of those is New York speed data is provided by the state of New York and New York City through their open data program. So that's REST JSON data, very easy to get, though pretty big data and actually thousands of records. So if we wanted to process all of the city's data, which, you know, gets updated every couple of minutes, there's more work we'd have to do. But for now, we can get a sampling of it, and this is running on a laptop. We bring this into OpenFlow on a big environment. You want to get thousands of concurrent messages in, we could do that. I'm just grabbing some of the speed data. I'm adding a timestamp unique ID. Then to optimize it for insert into Snowflake using the standard open source JDBC, I am merging them into bigger files to make this a small batch or a micro batch. I could send this in directly, but it's nice to have these be a little bit bigger. I want, at least some seconds of data. I can adjust this any size, number of records that I want, but I'm going to insert it into the traffic table, and that's my speed data. And if we come in here, we could take a look at the traffic data, and we'll see that we got a decent amount of it, and obviously more is coming in. But this says the speed in miles per hour, how long things have been traveling. Also some lat and long that we can extrapolate and use for matching when we want to do that. And we'll probably do that in a little bit. And we can see where it's coming out of. Also, we got a link to Transcom, which is a multi-state agency that we also get data, but I haven't put this into here. At some point, I'm going to grab my air quality data we mentioned before, weather, Transcom data, the MTA data, trains. So we'll have all of that for this system. But for now, that's the traffic speed data. And we've got some of that coming in. And then next up, we could take a look at another section of data here. And we'll look at the events. This is another REST endpoint from 511 New York, which gives us some things of what's going on. Is there accidents? Is there construction? All that kind of sign data. And if we look in here, we're doing the merge again. This is standard data. You see here, I'm not assigning fields from that incoming REST endpoint into a table. They have the same names. We're going to match. I created the table so that it matches this. But if you needed to convert it or have a raw table and then move it, obviously standard practices can be done in Snowflake with various ETL tools or DBT, or we could have Snowflake create bronze, silver, gold, as many of those as you need. But we're keeping it simple for this little use case. So we got some data in. Let's look at traffic events back in Snowflake. I'm just in SnowSite, but I'll show you some cool stuff in SnowSite in a little bit. Okay, so you can see the type of data we got in there: road types, subtypes, description, text data. Lat long, again, we could start bringing these data with geodata. Again, we've done that with the MTA data. There's a lot of good geotypes and geofunctions in Snowflake to do that kind of near analysis. We still got to work on that. So we're getting data in there. Nice. So we've got that data. Now let's do some different data. New York City has, that same 5-1 New York has a list of road cameras that are used to watch the traffic. So we're going to grab that, pull out a list, make sure that it's not blocked, and then we're going to call the actual camera and get back an image. And if it's not junk, I mean, some of them are junk, I'm going to send that. Again, I'm using the open source things. I'm just going to put that into a stage here, into traffic, and we'll run one of those. We could also send those images to my private Slack group. It's a good way of debugging and showing you, yeah, that's traffic image with all our metadata there. So we have that data coming in. Don't need these extra windows open. Okay, and then I get the results back of executing that. And then I'm going to grab the fields I care about, you know, the different things about doing the put. So I have those as metadata. And if we look at the provenance, we could see here the new metadata, the name of the file, was there any messages, it uploaded, and what the size is. Very cool. Then after that, we are going to call a stored procedure I have here. Analyze traffic images with the image file name and a unique ID. And this is going to call Cortex AI and do some stuff on it. Let's take a look at that stored procedure in Snowflake. So that is the analyze traffic image there. So there's the tables. There's a lot of other stuff in here. But there's our analyze traffic image. I've got a couple of versions for different use cases. Is it this one? Yeah, let's see. Maybe this one. And we can go into that guy. I believe this is the right one. There, a couple of them are similar. Yeah, we got the image name in. And I'm going to refresh the stage. It's a good time to check for it since we just did a put so that it'll show up there. Then I'm going to use Cortex Complete with Claude 3.5. Maybe update that. There's a couple of images. There's a couple of different models I've worked with that have done pretty well. But this one works pretty nicely. Analyze the image. Give it to me in JSON. And it's grabbing that image from our stage. And we put it in our raw image table. And then I return the results. Ooh, I forgot about that table. Got to look at that raw JSON. I forgot all about that. So much stuff going on. So we call that, and we get the results back, and I parse them out. It comes in this result set. I pull out some individual values from that, and then I add that as text, build up a new file with all the fields I want, and then output that as JSON. And if we take a look at that complete file, we could see it here. And it's got a number of different fields from that JSON, including that image text coming back from Cortex with some nice description. And then we are going to call that put database record to put it into traffic images. And we see we've got a couple going through. I also pushed them to Slack so you can see what we sent, all our different metadata we had, and it was successful, all that fun stuff we want to see. So if we look at traffic images, I already have them there. And we could see this is the one that just came in. And there's the lat long, bunch of other data there. But also the location, traffic, road features, and that big text. That's done. Great. Traffic stage has all those images we're uploading. And then, well, I don't want to give it away. We'll go up to AI and look at the agents. And we could see I created an agent for traffic. Part of it is a semantic model. Part of it's a search. So we take a look at the search, and here is our traffic search. And you can see we could call it a bunch of different ways. You can see the data coming back here. This lets us search that image text. And this is nice to have a search engine here. We can also take a look at our semantic model here, which is mostly created by Cortex analysts with me filling in, and that's important that you check things and make sure you have like synonyms for your table so people can use a couple of names. Make sure you got all the right fields you want in there. Here I've got 3 different tables. That event table, and I've got a relationship there, a verified query, and we can test it in Analyst to make sure our semantic uh, model is working. This is a great way to develop this as you update the tables, update some of the things, different things you could do there. Now I got this running on an extra small just to save money for myself, but we could write this, use a bigger one to get this faster, change the models. And you'll see that in a minute. And you can ask a query, fun stuff. Now if we've looked at some of the other ones I've run today, I asked what the road conditions were, and it looked at the search engine and it tells you everything it was planning to do, how it did it, what the sources it looked at, gave you the results. Same here. It's a pretty cool way of doing something. And then right now I'm in dev mode, so I can play around with some things like turn on semantic query routing, try see if we can improve the latency. Maybe that one won't hurt. You use a newer model. There's a lot you can play around with here. And we grab that from down here, and we could use any of the agents we have in here. It is pretty nice here, pretty easy way to do this. And then finally I have a let's get into this. I have a little diagram for this. Hopefully it didn't crash. Okay, it is a very small Streamlit app that's looking at, I made a view on top of this traffic data to make sure things were a little simpler. And then we could run this. I'll run it here. Too much going on here. So I run my Streamlit app. Let me reload. I'm getting timeouts here. I'm running too much stuff on my laptop. So this, I just created a small map of these locations that we were running from the images. And I gotta see if I can link it to the image. And then below I'm grabbing some of the images from the staging area, just the top couple. And then you can see you can easily build apps. You can, build up an agent here and then use that agent in questioning things. It is a pretty cool way. But we start with ingesting that data with NiFi, and then this will be even easier in OpenFlow as there's faster and better processors to do some of the Cortex AI and getting data to Snowflake. But just using the open source, you see how powerful we have here. Hope you like this little demo.